Okay. Why you always try to make one more comment right before we go live?
Because it's
But
funny.
welcome to episode 12 now of the BAMcast, which is crazy. Last one you were on was 8,
7 or
7?
8, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of the last one, we got a ton of. We even made a comment in there about possibly getting some hate in the comments and what people would be saying, and we got quite a bit, especially on Instagram, because the sizzle reel that we made, or that I made, I'll take credit for it, popped off and went super viral, and we got tons and tons of hate and backlash. And if you guys go look, then you'll probably see a few of the comments and a few of our responses, but majority of everything we just blocked them or hid the
Mhm.
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about that response that we got?
I mean, I thought it was kind of hilarious because, like, you made that reel specifically to obviously engage the audience, like,
Yeah.
attract attention to that video. And people, like, took that as, like, we were spilling all the information, like, in that 40 seconds or whatever it was. But, like,
Yes.
if you actually took the time to go watch the episode and, like, see all of those moments in the podcast, it makes a whole lot more sense.
Yeah, it does. And that's the whole, I mean, that I even commented back to a bunch of people during the like while we were responding to people. I commented back and was like, listen, this is a sizzle reel. I'm just pulling random comments out of context for the purpose of exactly what's happening here, which I guess it worked, right? Because you got a bunch of people to go watch and engage. But I mean, for instance, we talked about when you were 19, and I clipped that part out when you were 19 and some of the stuff that was happening back then when all of the little controversy stuff started. And people took that as if I was saying that you're 19 right now,
Yeah.
and you're not,
No.
obviously. That was 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
You're old. And we are what was the other thing that they took out? Oh, everybody, steroids was the big thing this time,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't glute implants, it was steroids.
Mhm.
um so what did we talk about? What was our explanation for steroids and the whole why you look different on the last episode? Let's get to it early. Maybe this time, if people listen to
Yeah.
5 minutes of the episode, then they'll hear it up front. Let's just recap that for people.
Yeah, we literally went into, like, our entire genetic background. We talked about the genetic testing that was done on us at a facility when we were young. I mean, we went into the entire spiel of, like, why our bodies hold fat the way that they hold fat and, like, why we look more muscular per se due to the genetic condition. So, that was all talked about, but people hear the word genetics and they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's lying. It's not genetics, it's steroids." But if
Yeah.
you actually listen to the explanation, we tell you what it is, we talk about it.
Yeah,
So,
we're not just simply blaming like, "Oh, it's just my genetics. I was just
no.
blessed." And we're not just saying like it's just a normal case of genetics. It's literally a genetic mutation. You can look it
Mhm.
up if you want. It's called CGL for short, but congenital generalized lipodystrophy. Okay. And it is way more pronounced in women, which is the difference in what we look like. Also, I have a literal hole in my knee. So people were like, why are
Yeah.
her legs so much bigger than her brother's? And that was like the biggest thing. And, I don't even let it get to me at this point, but it's like your legs are way bigger than mine, just like they are most men. And I have an actual hole in my knee and cannot place load on it under or past 90 degrees. So I have to do a bunch of really weird workouts to keep even the little bit of muscle mass that I have on my legs. And I'm pretty limited until I get either a knee replacement at 25 years old, or um, let them take my entire knee apart, dry it out, put new cartilage on, smooth it out, put the new knee back together, and then I have to not walk for 9 to 12 months
Mhm.
and then relearn how to walk. So it's just, there's probably not going to be a great time for it, but it's just not been a good time of life to do that. So I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, and
So
there's a
for now,
big difference between, like, you not being able to train legs for the last, like, 5, 6, 7 years because of the knee injury and me being able to, which apparently
yes,
people don't understand that concept
yes,
either.
exactly,
There's a big difference.
exactly. um, but the whole premise basically of what we're trying to get at is, in case we didn't explain it good enough, it's not just genetics in general, right? We're not just saying we're like Addie's gifted or our family's gifted. There's a lot of negative things that come along with CGL, but the premise of it is the body holds fat differently. You can't hold fat on your extremities. So your arms and your legs cannot hold body fat. They don't. So all of it goes to your face and your torso. All right. And so people are like, well, women just don't look like that. And it's like, yeah, normal women don't, because they hold a large percent of their body fat in their legs, in their hips, in their butt. Right. And Addie has none in any of those areas.
I wish I
So
did.
imagine if, yeah, imagine if you were able to take all of the body fat out of any other bodybuilder, any like trained woman really with any level of hypertrophy. If you could take all the body fat out of her legs, how much differently would she be shaped?
Mhm.
Okay, that's what we're trying to get across. Because there's no body fat in there to round things out. There's no body fat out there in there to smooth things out. So that is the reason that she looks the way she looks, coupled with 6 years at this point, 7 years at this point of training like a bodybuilder. She eats 4,000 calories a day almost,
Eat so
right?
much.
She's trained her metabolism up to an insane level by bulking slowly for 3 years now.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things at play, right?
Yeah.
Not just, and I'm sorry if this is a real, like, I'm probably going to try to trigger a bunch of people again with this one too. We'll go see what we can cut out. But I'm sorry if it wasn't very clear. If you just listen to the episode, like, that is the explanation. So we explained that all today in the first 6 minutes and 15 seconds.
Yep.
But hopefully people can at least have the attention span to watch at least
Right.
that much. Um, but other than that, we've had several people that have joined the BAM team
Mhm.
recently, which has been awesome, especially to start the new year. Along with all of the hate that we were getting, all the comments that we were getting, one of the big comments was, I can't believe you're trying to push that this is natural and profit off of, obviously obvious steroid use. Okay.
Mhm.
So my question to you is, if there was a way for us to actually prove, obviously you can do a blood test, okay, which I don't want to speak for you, but I'm pretty sure we're very comfortable with doing.
Mhm.
Whenever we did the glute implant thing, like we talked about in the previous episode, it was like, this is fake. This doesn't prove anything. This isn't, like, nobody accepted that for what it was.
Yeah.
So, what do you think would be a way for people to prove it, or do you just at this point just give up on it?
I mean, obviously, like the most reliable ways to like, I guess, prove it would be take like lie detector tests or
Hmm.
like a urine test or actual blood work, which I could do all three of those and I'd be 100% like fine. But I also know because of the way the response was after I got like the MRI, I mean, people are gonna believe what they want to believe, and
Hmm.
even if I do it, I know there's still gonna be people out there who are like, okay, so maybe you're just not cycling right now, or
Yeah.
okay, how do we know that's your actual like blood or urine, so people
Hmm.
just like to make up whatever narrative they will want. So I could do it, I would be willing to do it, I don't care. But I mean, I feel like there's still going to be people who are like, no, we never said that, or like there's no way, or we need to see you actually get your blood taken, or actually, so
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and then
don't
you're gonna have people that are like, "Well, you might have switched the vial, and you might have switched," and it's like, "Oh my god!" So what are we supposed to do? Live stream this entire process, getting all of these tests done? Um, anyway, so if there's a, we even talked about, like, is there like somebody that we could reach out to that does like natty or not tests and like proves or disproves things, that actual does really test, not just like speculation and slander, basically. But is there somebody that we could reach out? So if anyone has somebody like that, feel free to put us in contact, because there's literally nothing that we are hiding or that Addie is trying to hide. But that also goes to show, which is kind of my next talking point here, the negative side of social media,
know.
right? And we talked about it quite a bit last time. And we really, it reared its ugly head again, through another podcast episode and another post on Instagram that went viral. So I wanted to talk a little bit, because I think a lot of your following and a lot of people that we talk to that are interested in BAM, they are younger women.
Mhm.
Okay, they're interested in growing their own social media and taking the path that you've taken to get to where you're at right now. So I thought it might be interesting to talk specifically to that person, right? Whether it's a younger men, younger women, anybody that's trying to get into the social media world right now, and talk about, what that looks like, maybe some best practices that you've picked up, and get to where we can share some of the things that you've learned, that I've learned in the marketing space, and help people to maybe avoid some of the things that we did early on. So starting out, women in fitness, do you think it's easier or harder for you guys to grow?
I think it's easier for women to grow in social media, but I think it's harder for women to obtain the specific audience that they want. Because
I
I
would
feel
agree.
like, yeah, women are consistently like sexualized, I would say, on social media,
Hmm.
regardless of the industry you're in. So you're always going to encounter like that group that's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why are you, why is my stuff getting pushed to you? But I feel like that just comes with being a female. So I definitely think it's easier. It's just a little bit harder to find like that niche group that you're kind of trying to target.
Yeah. So with starting out, you experienced that at a very high
Mhm.
level, right? Like most of the I mean, you had your little patented pose that you always did and we were always talking about it. But the majority of your Instagram following, especially at first, like you grew almost exclusively with men. Like
Yeah.
your follower percentage of men was probably like 80 to 85% for a while. And I don't know
Yeah.
what it is now. I know it's improved, but the tell me about your what or tell people what you did initially that you can it's easy to get sucked into like the views and everything spiking.
Mhm.
So say what happened initially, I guess, from your perspective.
I guess when I first started out and like the people who my content was getting pushed to, once I saw like, oh my gosh, I'm getting like this many views or this many likes, I just like continued to post like the same thing over and over, which you should stick to what works. But if it's
Mhm.
really not bringing you like what you need it to bring, then change it up and find something else that works. And I feel like that's
Okay.
what I did. I stuck with something that was working to get me like views and engagement, but it wasn't actually the engagement and views that I wanted.
Okay. Um with all that being said, how do you avoid getting sucked into that trap?
I mean, I guess just being like authentic and like really diving into your passion. I mean, it's all cool and fun to see like, oh my gosh, I got like so many likes on this post, or I got like, 10,000 views on a post. Like, yes, that is cool, that's fun, whatever. But if it's not something that is actually, I don't know, teaching someone or showing someone what you do on a daily basis or inspiring someone in some way, and it's just like, you're just pumping out content that's kind of, I don't know, there, if that makes sense. Like there's not really a purpose to it.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like that's where you kind of lose sight and you're a lot less likely to be able to like monetize off it, make a lot of like genuine connections off of it. You're unable to like, I guess, teach people and really inspire people if you're not putting what you're passionate about out on your page.
Yeah. And I know we've talked a lot about long form versus short form content, but it at our core, right, we're wired to do things that give us a reward,
Hmm.
right? So I know that was a big thing that you struggled with early on is like, hey, whenever I post the things that you're telling me to post, like, yeah, we might get a couple of clients out of it, or we might get some more inquiries out of it as far as like applications and stuff, but I'm not getting near the views. I'm not getting near the likes. Like my follower count didn't grow, maybe.
Hmm.
And so those are the things that are instant and they feel good, right? Is the likes or the views or the follows or things like that. And
Yeah.
so I think there's something just subconsciously that's tied to like that's why we fall in the trap, right? Is we're looking for that quick hit of dopamine from
Hmm.
seeing the numbers go really good versus speaking to the person that we want to speak to. And I think that's where people get caught is they feel there's this perception of the success from the numbers being spiked. There's this perception of success from growing the following, but then if you really dive into it, it's like, is it success if you're growing? You know, if you're a woman and you're looking to train women, if you're getting all male followers, what percentage of those people are actually wanting to buy something from you other than maybe an OnlyFans, right? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of what they're looking for.
Hmm.
And they're following you because they might think you're attractive or whatever reason. Versus if we could grow instead of getting 100 new male followers from a post that pops off, what if we could post a different video that might get half the views and get 10 or 5 new female followers that are
Yeah.
warm leads that are interested in the product that you have to sell and that are going to engage with your content in like a way that actually pushes you and your business forward.
Hmm.
So, how have you tried to reframe your mindset as of late with that type of content moving forward?
I mean, I just feel like I feel like I've done a better job of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, it helps that I obviously have my boyfriend to, like, be like, "No, do something silly," or, like, "Be fun," or, like, "Show your personality." So, I feel like I've been able to pump out more content like that, and I actually have enjoyed it because I feel like I get a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah,
I think it's helps that I've been able to be on the podcast. People have been able to watch us, like, talk, interact,
yeah,
and I think I'm a lot less concerned, I guess, about people, like, seeing my physique. I don't interact with the hate. I interact with literally, like, females only.
mhm,
Um, and I feel like just changing that and reframing the way I handle everything has really helped. Because I mean, we see it now. Like, we get a lot more female leads through social media. We get to make a lot of connections. We have clients who come and then leave and then return because they liked the environment that we provide. So I feel like just reframing that and approaching everything in a different manner has really, really helped.
yeah, I agree. What do you feel like women that are starting out on social media today, right now, trying to build their audience, what do you feel like they're facing?
Um, I mean, I just think like the biggest thing everyone runs into is men. And
Mhm,
not even in a bad way, because I feel like I have quite a few men who do support me. Obviously, like in my close circle, you guys always support me as well. But I feel like you run into either one, like women who don't understand it and like aren't really supportive, I guess, of the fit
mhm,
lifestyle. But I feel like it's a lot more normalized now than it was like a couple years ago. And then you run into just being sexualized as a female. So I feel like that's kind of the biggest downfall. But if you can push past that and just continue to target your audience that you're looking for, or like you want to bring in relationships with them, then you'll obviously push past that and people will leave you alone. But I think that that's like the biggest issue that a lot of women run into.
If you had to start over, what would you, and I'm talking like platforms, I'm talking types of content, what would you start with if you had to start over right now and you had to try to get to 100K in 2024?
I would definitely start out by just being like myself, like showing like the fun, goofy pictures, showing more personality through talking. Because I think I like ran my entire social media without a talking story or any kind of talking video for like a year and a half before I
Mhm.
actually got the confidence to get up there and talk.
Yeah,
So, I think that, like, starting out fresh, like, talking, taking people, like, day in the life, the get ready with me, people love that, and people love to see, like, into your life. So, I think I would start out from scratch by actually doing that, like, showing up as me, not so much as a body or just, like, a picture.
yeah. So what platforms do you feel like you would maybe start on, or would you start on all of them? How do people balance that?
Oh my gosh, it's, like, so much stuff.
It is.
But I would definitely like Instagram is a great place to just like show pictures and show like quick videos. TikTok is a great place to just like be, I feel like authentically you. Like you can talk, you can do your Instagram videos on there too. You can like do random quick little videos that you take. You can do, long vlogs on there. And then I would definitely start with YouTube, which I do have 2 YouTube videos in the bank, okay? So those are going to be posted, mark my words.
Are they
But
gonna be posted by the time this episode goes live? Because that's a promise we've made twice before.
sure. I don't know.
Okay. This goes
Probably.
live on Monday.
Yeah. They're both edited, so we'll see.
Okay.
But I also think I would have started out with YouTube too, because I think that long form content and just like giving people, like you talking, you like being real and raw, whether that's in a workout or a day in the life, like that also shows people who you are. And I did not do that.
Yeah, and you got really good feedback, right? Especially, I mean, all the positive stuff that we've gotten out of the two episodes that we've done so far have been very positive, and
Mhm.
people overwhelmingly so. All the positive stuff has been like, I love hearing this side of Addie. I love seeing her talk about these things. I love
Yeah.
just watching her like speak, and it's something that people want. Like you said, it's
Mhm.
something people want to see inside of your life, and you do a really good job of that on TikTok, which is why I think you built the correct audience first on TikTok,
Yeah.
is because you approach that, you talk a lot more on TikTok, right? Like you show a lot more behind the scenes, and so people feel closer to you, and it attracts the people that feel closer to you because
Mhm.
it's not all physique based stuff like you see a lot of girls fall into. It is like literally, hey, here's a day in my life, or here's the supplements that I'm using. I'm about to head to the gym right now. Just wanted to show you guys. And but I'm heavily pushing on YouTube as well right now, and I'm trying to even add in. It's been tough because I'm editing all my own stuff right now, but I'm trying to even add in like maybe a weekly vlog, or
Mhm.
like some shorter kind of like one-off talking videos that are, maybe like training on some sales stuff, or training on some personal development stuff, or a review of something that I did or read or whatever, or an idea that I've been trying to develop and
Yeah.
think through. And so YouTube, I always tell people I would rather have I think I'd rather have 1,000 YouTube subscribers than maybe even like 20 or 30,000 people on any other platform.
Yeah,
And
because
it's just
YouTube,
because,
if they subscribe to you on YouTube, then they really do mess with you and your content, I feel like.
yes, yes. And that's where you see the biggest brand deals go to the people that have the biggest amount of following on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
The biggest payouts from any platform, YouTube, right? The biggest you know, l- audiences, and the big, like, look at Sam Sulek and what he's been able to accomplish so quickly. And he's literally been doing YouTube for a year. He started January of last year, and he just started posting a daily video that wasn't even edited. Now, can everyone do that? No, right? Because a lot of times our unedited stuff, we don't have the physique maybe that he does, or the
Yeah.
temperament or something. Just like you're not going to go be a Jeff Nippard, right? You're not going to go be a Jordan Peterson. Like a lot of times you just got to be you, and you just got to put out the type of content that you resonate with. But people that listen to the podcast every week, for example, people that watch all the YouTube clips that I put up, like I'm posting the full long form content for podcasts, and then I'm doing shorts that then you can you can post basically a related video, which means you can link it back to your long form. So you could just post a weekly YouTube video or vlog or a couple times a week, right? And then you can post shorts every single day that are just clips from that long form content. So that's, not only are you pushing that into the algorithm, the long form content, but you're also pushing people back to it, that might not have seen it otherwise, by hitting your new audiences inside of shorts. And so I think that's
Yeah.
a really powerful thing you can do in YouTube that you can't do on other platforms.
Definitely.
So we've talked a little bit about women in fitness, and if it's easier or harder to grow. We talked about what they're facing. Now, with your strategy kind of changing, with you looking to get into YouTube, with you, we're doing these podcasts monthly where you're hopping on every single month with the BAMcast. What do you feel like is going to be do you have a different focus heading into 2024? Do you have like a different strategy, or what is kind of going to be your personal strategy?
I mean, I just want to kind of show, like, I guess the behind the scenes. I feel like I'm really good at showing like the physique and the workouts. Um, so I feel like just showing like YouTube videos, I have like content planned out, trips. Like I'm going with Dark Sport, going to Dallas this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I plan on like videoing things like that. I plan on me and my boyfriend were just talking about this too. Like just taking like, going to Crumble Cookie or like going to the mall or something, like taking little vlogs like that just so that you see I'm someone outside of fitness. I'm someone outside of a physique. I plan on prepping this year. I plan on competing. I would love to take people along with me during that journey because I feel like, it's interesting, it's fun, it's stressful. So why not share it with people? But that's kind of my plan for this year is just to show more behind the scenes and a little bit less of surface level me.
Yeah. Um, okay. So let's talk about then for your plan, and for you wanting to share more of your behind the scenes stuff. Not everybody's got access to, we just got you a new camera, right? We just got a bunch of stuff too, to be able to hook it up to where you can connect it to the computer. And for those of you guys not watching on YouTube, she's making a bunch of faces and stuff into the camera. um, but for those people that are just starting out, that don't necessarily have access, they might not have the editing softwares. Like, let's give a couple of actionables there. So when you first started out, what did you use?
My phone. I literally use my phone all the time. I feel like now, like these cameras, guys, are so good. You don't even need extra cameras.
Yeah.
But I feel like using your phone to record literally everything, you can buy like cheap mics from like Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon to plug into your phone if you want mics. Um, I can't remember everything that I was about to say.
Well, we were talking about what did you use at first? Even like editing platforms. What did you
Oh,
edit
yeah, yeah, yeah.
your pictures and videos on?
I normally edit my videos and stuff on like InShot. I'm pretty sure it was what it was called.
Okay.
That's what I used to use. Now I use CapCut because it just seems like so much more convenient. Or I'll actually
Mhm.
edit within Instagram and TikTok because they've advanced their editing tools in there.
Yeah.
And then I use like Lightroom to edit any pictures. And then of course, if you have like a Mac or something like that, it has, iMovie, which is really easy to edit YouTube videos on too.
hmm I think CapCut is probably the best bet for most people because then that
Mhm.
makes it a really easy editor on your phone. If you are going to use YouTube, you can use that same CapCut,
Yeah.
membership if you get one, right, for the premium version or the free version on your desktop as well. And there's tons and tons and tons of different resources within that, whether it's the sound libraries or music or voiceovers. You can do all of that easily.
Mhm.
And there's the higher level platforms like what Addie was talking about, where you can use like Lightroom, which I think they have a free version for your phone, but the desktop version's paid, and Premiere Pro, which is what I use for all of my YouTube videos, is Premiere Pro. Okay. Well, what other tips do you have, I guess, or what other things do you want to talk about along the lines of social media that somebody might want to know or talk about getting started?
I mean, I guess if you have a goal, I feel like a lot of people get discouraged really easily, which I feel like, I mean, we've all kind of been there. I was there too at one point when I was like, yeah, this is not for me. Like, it's not happening. So I'm just
Mhm.
gonna stop. Um, but it's really easy to get discouraged, I feel like, or, maybe you're starting to grow and you're experiencing like more hate. I mean, those things are all like, I mean, it's a negative to experience hate. And then, of course, just being discouraged because you feel like you're not growing fast enough or you're not doing good enough. I feel like those are things that many people encounter, and you just have to remember to stick with it, push through, persevere, because it will pay off eventually. I feel like most people experience success in some way when they do embark on their social media journey and like growing a business or whatever. So, yeah, I would just say stick with it. Don't give up. Know that it does take time.
Mhm.
Everyone that you see with, 30, 50, 100, 200,000 followers, like it most of the time does not happen in a day or in a couple weeks. Typically, it takes a lot more time than that. So just have patience and you'll get through it and it'll pay off.
Yeah, it's just like a fitness journey, right? Like
Yeah.
the more you're willing to just be consistent with it, the more it's going to pay off over time.
Hmm.
And for you, it might not be one post that eventually pops off and takes you to be, 1 million TikTok followers like Dalton from a few episodes back. It might not be, you might not gain 1,000 followers your first year, right? But like you will over time. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of consistency, but it really
Hmm.
is buying in for the long game. And I
Yeah.
will say too, like I've worked with a lot of fitness coaches through AR, like a lot. And you'd be surprised. We've got a lot of fitness coaches that have 100,000 plus, 200,000 plus, 500,000 plus followers, and they have very small businesses, right? And we have a lot of fitness coaches that are 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers, 5,000 followers that have huge businesses that you would not think about by seeing their follower count. So follower count's not everything.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Um, it does just take consistency. And if the reality is if you can get 1,000 followers that really, really mess with you on a real level, like love your content and they just eat it up, you can make a lot of money,
Hmm.
right? And if you build your audience talking to them the entire time, but also talking to you, not making, I saw this quote the other day. It was like all of your content that you need to make needs to it needs to be framed and phrased as if you're meeting a person for the first time, like they know nothing about you. So it can be nuggets of truth, or it can be a story, or it can be whatever, but you need to be talking as if somebody watching this for the first time that's never seen your face understand this and get value from it.
Hmm.
Because we see a lot of times people will only make content for the people that are already following them. So it'll be an inside joke from 2 months ago that I posted. That's not going to go viral. For sure, it's not going to go viral, right?
Yeah.
Because only your followers, which Instagram's only showing it to 30% of your followers, anyways, only your followers are going to understand that. So if you're making it always talking to that version of that person, your ICA, right, ideal client avatar that you're wanting to attract, especially if you're in the fitness space, if you're always talking to that person and it can always be understood by someone who's seeing you for the first time, you're making it to where you have the highest possible chance of a larger outcome, a larger response, likes, follows, etc.
Mhm.
One last software that we have no affiliation to any of these guys, but one last software that I really use a lot of is the Captions app. You can do some really cool things on there as far as editing, text-based editing within video. So it'll put live captions like you see on all my posts if you've been to my Instagram. And it'll also allow you to use AI to do things like, put in extra B-roll, right? Or zoom in and out on your face whenever you're emphasizing certain points and so on and so forth. So the Captions app is also really awesome. Okay, so we talked about social media plan for 2024 as far as you are concerned, and we're both really trying to heavily lean into longer form content and making
Yep.
it a more of a play on YouTube, and then also just showing more of our lives on the other platforms. But let's talk about plans for BAM for 2024. So we've already pretty much got our marketing calendar set up for the entire year, so I don't want to
Mhm.
kind of tease too much of that, but we're also doing some really cool stuff on the client success side, which we're excited about. And maybe you want to talk about some of the things that you've got going with some of your girls. I know we've got some competitors this year.
Yeah, I feel like we're definitely growing. We've got some lifestyle girls and guys. We've got some girls who are looking to compete, most of whom are in growth season because I
Hmm.
attract a lot of wellness girls. So
Yeah.
we're all trying to grow the legs. But I'm very, very excited. I feel like it's starting to feel more like a family. We're building those close relationships. I'm doing like weekly client calls with my girls. We're doing bi-weekly team calls. We have weekly Facebook Lives. So I feel like we're definitely building our relationships and making sure that all of our clients, are heard, are seen, are able to feel supported by us, by our other clients. So I feel like it's been a really good thing. And I think it'll be really awesome to see what the year brings.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're trying to do some really cool things like we've got an order of shaker cups coming in with the BAM logo that we can give out to people or even put up maybe for a super cheap, like just to get the BAM logo out there more, right? Put it up for
Yeah.
like we did last year, um, to get more shaker cups and more bags and get the brand out there.
Yeah.
T-shirts is a big thing that we've talked about a lot, is to try and get that out there. But I think one of the biggest initiatives that we're pushing is, or two of them, I guess, is we're doing a weekly newsletter every single week
Yeah.
for 2024. So we've gotten good feedback on that so far. So if you interact at all or submit your information at all on any of the BAM forms or on an application or anywhere that you can basically opt in to us and to the company, you'll start to get that weekly newsletter every single Monday. We usually send it out Monday afternoons, and people are enjoying that so far. We talk about a range of different topics. And then we've actually got Kinsey helping out with some client success stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really cool, which is we're going to start to try and do more things around, whether it's even, birthdays, celebrating birthdays with the BAM family, or doing if something big happens in somebody's life, celebrating that with them any way, shape, or form,
Mm-hmm.
or even like grief stuff, right? Because we have people that, for instance, us, we lost our grandpa late last year, but people are dealing with loss or relationships or things like that aren't necessarily health and fitness related, that maybe we can help, right? Because we do see this as you were saying, as a community. And
Mm-hmm.
so we want to be there for people in as many ways as we can. So we've got some really cool stuff coming up with that. But do you want to tease any of our upcoming kind of events?
I mean, we kind of, it's kind of like we have been doing the last few years. We have more challenges coming up. We've got some scholarships we'll be giving out this year that we'll have people apply for. So we're excited about all of that. We might have something for summer shredding. We'll see. We've talked about that a little bit. But yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. Lots of chances for our clients, other people to get involved and I guess kind of check us out, see what we're about, which is exciting.
Yeah. Um, and I think I've got the schedule pulled up here, right here. We've only got one, two. Right now, we've only got two challenges planned for the year. Okay, so
Yeah.
those are going to be big pushes that we've got. We're looking at doing something. I'm not even going to give the time frames because I want it to be kind of a surprise, and I want to see how we can do with that. But we've got some cool challenges planned. Like Addie said, we've also got something possibly going to be planned for around the summer shredding, maybe a retreat down to Houston. That would be really cool, I think,
Mhm.
and some other really exciting stuff as well. So I'm excited for it. Okay, and to just kind of, I guess, before we end the call, one last thing that we hit on in our Challenger call last night that I think could be really beneficial is, at this point, as of the time that we're filming this, we are a little over 3 weeks into the year. So we hit what was called, I think it was called like Quitting Friday, not last week, but the week before, where like 80% of people are done with their New Year's resolutions by that point of the year.
Yeah.
Um, so we gave some advice yesterday in our team call that I want to kind of like pass on to everybody here. And it was on the topic of discipline,
Mhm.
right? And so do you want to kind of lead in with what we kind of opened up with about discipline and making it whenever the going gets hard, or maybe it's a little bit more boring, it's not as exciting to continue on with your goals.
Yeah, we just kind of talked about last night the fact that obviously the new year is super exciting. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, new year, better me. Like I'm going to do all these things and accomplish all these goals." And it sounds great when you say it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. It sounds like you can get everything accomplished in that first couple of weeks and then you kind of just like not necessarily fall off, but you lose that motivation. You lose that excitement of a new year, a fresh start. And that's when everyone kind of just, I'm going to go back to my old self. I'm going to do my own thing. And we just talked about last night making, or I guess this won't be last night, whenever.
It's as of right now filming it. Yes.
Okay. Well, we talked about on the team call that this is the time where you have to like heavily rely on like self discipline, realize and understand that the excitement does wear off, that motivation does wear off, but the self discipline will take you places that motivation will not.
Hmm.
Um, and the importance of really sticking to your routine, sticking to those habits that you've built, regardless of the excitement surrounding those New Year's resolutions, realize that, the first couple days or first couple weeks of January seem like fun, but then you get into, the end of January and then February and then, June and July. And it's kind of like, where's the excitement,
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like once you start to have that excitement wear off, that's when you have to remember that you have long term goals. And if you genuinely want to achieve those long term goals, you've got to stick to it. You've got to adhere to what you told yourself in those first couple of exciting days. And remember that if you want to achieve it, then like mentally be strong and adhere to the plan.
Yeah. And it's one of the a book that we kind of like really swear by internally within BAM is Atomic Habits. And so Atomic Habits, we taught one of the biggest quotes in there, I think, is you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you can have systems in place that kind of are checks and balances for you to keep you on track no matter what ends up arising throughout your day, that is the place you need to be in. And that is what will help you to be disciplined, right? Because you can do discipline the hard way where it's, you're David Goggins and you're always looking for the harder way to do things and you're always like pushing yourself and you never let yourself do anything that's easy, right? But in reality, for most of us and for what we're trying to go for, we want to make the hard route easier to access,
Mhm.
right? So if you have routines and things that are built into your day, like for instance, we always give the example of, staying on track whenever you're out to eat. If you have certain foods that you have, at the specific restaurant, you've already scouted it out what you can eat and how it's going to help you stay on your plan. That's fantastic. If the snacks around your house are bad for you, right? Then what are you going to do as soon as you don't have something meal prepped? You're going to grab one of those bad for you snacks, right? And that
Mhm.
can start a downward spiral, which we've all been on before. If you've got stuff meal prepped all the time and the snacks that you have are healthy things like protein bars and fruit and stuff like that, that's not going to set you off of your goals, like then that is going to keep you on track, right? Because you're going to fall to the level of that in a pinch instead of the opposite.
Yeah.
So, like Addie says, the motivation is not going to last forever, but there's things too that you can do to help reignite that. And every decision that you make is we always say you have to try and keep the promises that you make to yourself, but every decision that you're making is a vote for that version of you that you said you were going to be, right? Starting January 1st, and that version of, or for that version of you that you previously were January or December 31st.
Mhm.
Okay. And whenever you continuously make decisions, like the first decision that you make that's a vote against that person that you're trying to become, it makes it way easier for the next time you come to a decision tree to make the same negative decision, the same negative decision. So you just end up going down the wrong side of the hill. Okay. But if you're continually making decisions that are on the other side, you're voting for that person that you want to become, then you build up momentum, you build up the discipline, you build up that undeniable stack of proof that you are who you say you want to be.
Mhm.
And that's where confidence comes from. Because whenever you get to a certain stack, right, like at any decision, this is who I am because this is who I have shown that I am. Not this is who I am because this is what I want to be. It's like, no, I've got this stack of things and all of this evidence, all of this proof that I make decisions like this person because I am this person. And that's how you have to think. So I know it can get a little bit boring. I know you're probably a little bit sore. I'm, 23 days into 75 hard at this point. My body hurts everywhere because I've been doing 2 workouts a day and not able to do any snacks or any alcohol or anything. And I got 52 more days of it. Okay, so I get the pain and I get I get it not being super fun because 75 hard is definitely not very fun at this point. But I made a promise that I was going to do it, and I've got other people that I promised, and I announced it publicly on social media, and I've got all of these things that I put into place to make sure that I was going to feel the pain if I made an opposite decision. I got
Mhm.
to admit it to all my friends that are doing 75 hard with me that they're looking to me for guidance. I got to tell all of them that I let them down and that I gave up. I got to put it on social media that, hey, I know I said I was on 75 hard and doing it, but I've actually failed. So sorry, guys, I'm not going to do it. And that is the type of stuff that keeps me on track because I know I got other people depending on me and I'm depending on myself, right? Because I don't want to be that person that fails these things.
Mhm.
So make that decision, decide and vote for that person that you want to become, and you'll find the discipline will turn into confidence, and the confidence will make it so much easier to stay on track and know what to do in all situations.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We'll see you guys in the next one, probably in 3 or 4 weeks with Addie, maybe in person. We'll see. But if you want to interact with BAM or get on the newsletter or apply and even just learn about what we have going on and what it looks like to join the coalition, all those links are going to be down below. So feel free to click on one of those below. And we hope to hear from you guys soon. So thank you for watching the video. If you do want to subscribe and not miss any of the upcoming episodes or that next one that Addie and I film, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube or follow button if you're on any type of audio platform. And also check out Addie's YouTube channel to see if she's posted. All right. Okay, guys. Thanks, Addie. Talk to you guys soon.